Chapter 5. I stand at the leaded window, half concealed by the velvet drapes. Out on the driveway, Michael is mingling with the other men. They're heaving beneath their thick coats, shotguns crooked over their elbows, laughing and chatting, cold breath escaping their lips. Freed from the house with the slaughter to enjoy, they seem almost human. Daniel's words were comforting, but they can't absolve me. I should be out there with them, searching for the body of the woman I failed. Instead, I'm running away. The very least I can do is endure the shame of watching them set off without me. Dogs pass by the window, straining at leads their masters are struggling to hold. The two commotions merge, striking off across the lawn toward the forest, in precisely the direction I indicated to Daniel, although I can't see my friend among them. He must be joining the group later. I wait for the last of them to disappear among the trees before returning to the map on the wall. If it's correct, the stables aren't too far from the house. Surely that's where I'll find the stable master. He can arrange a carriage to the village, and from there, I'll catch a train home. I turn for the drawing room, only to find the doorway blocked by a huge black crow. My heart leaps, and so do I, straight into the sideboard, sending family photographs and trinkets clattering to the floor. "You don't need to be afraid," says the creature, taking a half step out of the gloom. It's not a bird at all. It's a man dressed as a medieval plague doctor. His feathers, a black greatcoat, the beak belonging to a porcelain mask, glinting in the light of a nearby lamp. Presumably, this is his costume for the ball tonight, though that doesn't explain why he's wearing such sinister garb in the middle of the day. "You startled me," I say, clutching my chest and laughing in embarrassment as I shake off my fright. He cocks his head, examining me as if I'm a stray animal he's found sitting on the carpet. "What did you bring with you?" he asks. "I'm sorry?" "You woke up with a word on your lips. What was it?" "Do we know each other?" I ask, glancing through the door into the drawing room, hoping to see another guest. Unfortunately, we're alone, which was almost certainly his intention, I realize with growing alarm. "I know you," he says. "That's enough for now. What was the word, please?" "Why not take off the mask so we might speak face to face," I say. "My mask is the least of your concern, Dr. Bell," he says. "Answer the question." Though he said nothing threatening, the porcelain muffles his voice, adding a low animal rumble to every sentence. "Anna?" I say, clamping my hand on my thigh to stop my leg from jogging. He sighs. "That's a pity." "Do you know who she is?" I say hopefully. "Nobody else in the house has ever heard of her." "I'd be surprised if they had," he says, waving away my question with a gloved hand. Reaching into his coat, he pulls out a golden pocket watch, tutting at the time. "We have work to do before long, but not today and not while you're in this state. We'll speak again soon, when everything's a little clearer. In the meantime, I'd advise you to acquaint yourself with Blackheath and your fellow guests. Enjoy yourself while you can, Doctor. The footman will find you soon." "The footman?" I say, the name ringing an alarm bell somewhere deep within me. Is he responsible for Anna's murder or the wounds on my arm? Now again, the term footman is a little archaic to us. It is a servant who serves at the table, tends the door, runs errands, things like that. We don't necessarily have a footman anymore, even at very nice places. So Sebastian asks if the footman's responsible for Anna's murder. "I very much doubt it," says the plague doctor. "The footman isn't going to stop with your arm." Oh, a little bit of something maybe worrisome there. There's a tremendous thump behind me, and I spin toward the noise. A small splash of blood smears the window, a dying bird thrashing the last of its life away among the weeds and withered flowers below. The poor thing must have flown into the glass. I'm startled by the pity I feel, a tear creeping into my eye at this wasted life. Resolving to bury the bird before I do anything else, I turn around intending to make my excuses to my enigmatic companion, but he's already left. I look at my hands. They're clutched so tightly my fingernails are digging into my palms. "The footman," I repeat to myself. The name means nothing, but the feeling it evokes is unmistakable. For some reason, I'm terrified of this person. Fear carries me over to the writing desk and the letter opener I saw earlier. It's small, but sharp enough to draw blood from the tip of my thumb. Sucking the wound, I pocket the weapon. It's not much, but it's enough to stop me barricading myself in this room. Feeling a touch more confident, I head for my bedroom. Without the guests to distract from the decor, Blackheath is a melancholy pile indeed. Aside from the magnificent entrance hall, the other rooms I pass through are musty, thick with mildew and decay. Pellets of rat poison have been piled up in the corners, dust covering any surface too high for a maid's short arms to reach. The rugs are threadbare, the furniture scratched, the smeared silver crockery arranged behind the dirty glass of display cabinets. As unpleasant as my fellow guests seem, I miss the thrum of their conversations. They're the lifeblood of this place, filling up the spaces where otherwise this grim silence would fall. Blackheath's only alive so long people are in it. Without them, it's a depressing ruin waiting on the mercy of a wrecking ball. I collect my coat and umbrella from my bedroom and make my way outside where rain is bouncing off the ground, the air smothered by the stink of rotten leaves. Uncertain of which window the bird crashed against, I follow the verge until I locate its body, and using the letter opener as a makeshift shovel, I bury it in a shallow grave, soaking my gloves in the process. Already shivering, I consider my route. The cobbled road to the stables skirts the bottom edge of the lawn. I could cut across the grass, but my shoes seem ill-suited to the venture. Instead, I'll take the safer option, following the gravel driveway until the road appears on my left. Unsurprisingly, it's in a terrible state of disrepair. Tree roots have overturned the stones. Untrimmed branches hang low like pilfering fingers. Still unsettled by my meeting with the strange man in the plague doctor costume, I clutch the letter opener and move slowly, wary of losing my footing, afraid of what might spring out at me from the woods if I do. I'm not sure what his game is, dressing up like that, but I can't seem to shrug off his warning. Somebody murdered Anna and gave me a compass. It's doubtful that same person attacked me last night, only to save me this morning. And now I must contend with this footman. Who must I have been to assemble so many enemies? At the end of the road is a tall, red brick arch with a shattered glass clock at the center, and beyond that is a courtyard, stables and outbuildings arranged around its edge. Troughs overflow with oats, and carriages stand wheel to wheel, draped in green canvas covers to keep the weather off. The only thing missing are the horses. Every stable is empty. "Hello?" I call out tentatively, my voice echoing around the yard but meeting no response. A plume of black smoke is escaping the chimney of a little cottage, and finding the door unlocked, I chase my hollered greeting inside. No one's home, which is curious as a fire is burning in the hearth, porridge and toast laid out on the table. Removing my soggy gloves, I hang them on the kettle pole above the fire, hoping to spare myself a little discomfort on the way back. Touching the food with a fingertip, I discover it's lukewarm, so not long abandoned. A saddle lies discarded beside a leather pouch, suggesting interrupted repair. I can only assume whoever lives here has rushed out to deal with some emergency, and I consider waiting for them to return. It's not an unpleasant refuge, though the air is thick with burning coal and smells rather strongly of polish and horsehair. Of great concern is the cottage's isolation. Until I know who attacked me last night, everybody in Blackheath must be treated with caution, including the stable master. I will not meet him alone if it can be helped. A work roster hangs on by a nail by the door, a pencil dangling from a piece of string beside it. Taking it down, I turn the sheet over, intending to leave a message requesting a ride to the village, but there's a note already written there. Don't leave Blackheath. More lives than your own are depending on you. Meet me by the mausoleum in the family graveyard at 10:20 p.m., and I'll explain everything. Oh, and don't forget your gloves. They're burning. Love, Anna. Smoke fills my nostrils, and I swing around to see my gloves smoldering above the fire. Snatching them down, I stamp the ashes out, eyes wide and heart pounding, as I search the cottage for some indication as to how the trick might have come to pass. So while we actually have our first indication that Anna is an actual person, we have a note from Anna, and somehow she knows as he's reading the note that his gloves would be burning at that exact second. How can that be? Let's find out. It says, why don't you ask Anna when you meet her tonight? Because I saw her die, I snarl at the empty room, embarrassing myself. Recovering my composure, I read the note once more, the truth of it no nearer at hand. If Anna survived, she'd have to be a cruel creature to play such games with me. More likely, after word of this morning's misadventure spread around the house, somebody has decided to play a trick on me. Why else would they choose such a sinister location and hour for the meeting? Is this somebody a fortune teller? It's a foul day. Anybody could have predicted I'd drive my gloves once I arrived. So we have our narrator trying to talk himself out of, this having some sort of meaning behind it, or how could Anna possibly know? He's just trying to, say, well, maybe someone heard about this and left a note and they're playing a cruel trick. Who knows? The cottage listens politely, but even to my ears, that reasoning's desperate. Almost as desperate as my nerves to discredit the message. So defective is my character, I'd happily abandon any hope of Anna being alive in order to flee this place with a clean conscience. Feeling miserable, I pull on my singed gloves. I need to think, and walking seems to help. Heading around the stables, I come upon an overgrown paddock, the grass grown waist-high and fences so badly rotted they've all but collapsed. On the far side, 2 figures huddle beneath an umbrella. They must be following a hidden path as they're moving easily, arm in arm. Heaven knows how they spot me, but one of them raises a hand in greeting. I return the gesture, sparking a brief moment of distant kinship before they disappear into the gloom of the trees. Lowering my hand, I make a decision. I told myself that a dead woman could lay no claim to me, and that's why I was free to leave Blackheath. It was a coward's reason, but at least it had a ring of truth to it. If Anna's alive, that's no longer the case. I failed her this morning, and it's all I've thought about since. Now that I have a second chance, I cannot turn my back. She's in danger, and I can help, so I must. If that's not enough to keep me at Blackheath, I don't deserve the life I'm so fearful of losing. Come what may, I must be in the graveyard at 10:20 p.m.